Are you frustrated that your plumbing business isn't showing up on Google Maps when people search plumbers in your area? Well, the truth about how Google actually ranks local businesses might surprise you. I had a client ask me about this just last week, and what they thought would work versus what actually works on the platform were completely different. So today I figured I'd break down some of the real factors that determine whether or not your plumbing business shows up in those coveted top 3 MapPack positions, and why some of your competitors are outranking you even though you might have more experience and better service.
It's the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the marketing man.
I'm Tyler Williams and I run a marketing company called Mammoth Marketing. We run lots of SEO and paid ads initiatives for plumbers, and that's where I'm coming at you with this stuff. Today, we're diving deep into Google Business Profile rankings and SEO for plumbers because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I want to give you the straight facts as they exist now about what actually moves the needle. So when someone searches for plumber near me or emergency plumber in whatever city, like Google shows what's called a map pack, those top 3 business listings that appear within the map, right? Those are Google business listings. Getting into one of those 3 spots can be a game changer for your business because it's real prime real estate and a lot of people go and click on those. But here's what most plumbers kind of don't understand. Your visibility in that map pack is driven by 2 major factors, and neither of them are being really talked about enough, I think. At least within the plumbing industry, marketers do. The first factor, you're not gonna like it, but it's reviews. It's not just about having the most reviews, it's really what Google cares about is going to be your review frequency or velocity. Specifically, how recently you've been getting those reviews, right? Google wants to know that your business is alive and kicking and that you're actively serving customers right now. So recent reviews are their best signal that you're active, you're a thriving business. Now, your potential customers who see that review count, yes, they're gonna compare you against the other plumbers in that map pack. But at that point you're visible and it becomes a psychological click and decision point for the customers. So yes, a total review count matters for the conversion, but for actually showing up in the map pack, in the first place, it's your recent review activity. That's what Google weighs the most heavily. All right, here's the second factor, and this is the one that surprisingly gets lost on a lot of plumbers, but that is proximity. And this is absolutely massive, and it's where I tend to see the most confusion. If you have a service area business on Google Maps, meaning you don't show a physical address, and instead you just show a service radius or bounding box, you can almost guarantee that your business is not gonna rank very well in large swaths of searches around you. Why? Well, that's because Google doesn't exactly know where you are, and they don't know how responsive you could be inside of their service area or your service area compared to other plumbers who have a pinned address location as their Google business profile. So I'll give you a little bit of an example here. This question came up recently with one of my clients. They wanted to rank in the next town over, but they had a service area business set up. So when we looked at the competition in that market, there were many plumbers who had a pinned physical location into that neighboring town and actual addresses showing on the map. And realistically, here's the reality of that. There are very few ways to get a service area business to be consistently visible inside of that map pack when you're competing against businesses with actual addresses and pinned locations. That's just the way it is. And I want you to think about why that is, because here's how Google looks at this. Google knows where the searcher is for any given search, and they know where your business is in relation to that searcher. If the searcher is close to you by proximity, you're going to rank higher than others by a pretty significant margin if you've got good review flow. That proximity signal is incredibly strong. So, trying to get more visibility in those 3 map pack slots when you're farther away from the searcher, well, it gets harder and harder the further the searcher is from you. Not just because your proximity signal is weaker, but also because some other plumbing businesses have a proximity signal that is much, much stronger at that point because they're a pinned location and they're closer to the searcher. That is just the landscape. You have to remember that for every search that somebody does, there's an elasticity between every plumber in the market competing for those spots. The more plumbers you have competing for that map pack slot, the harder and less viable it is for you to get that visibility, especially if you're relying on a service area business like GMB, while they have pinned locations, we've covered that. Proximity is such a massive factor that you have companies out there setting up multiple Google business listings in multiple communities. So they'll go and get a secondary office for it, right? Sometimes you can get a small office space to rent and get an actual physical location cheaper than paying for PPC ads and to try and get those leads directly. So I want you to think about it. Sometimes you can find a $500 per month office space that will generate 5 leads when it might cost you $500 per lead through PPC advertising. And the math makes sense for some businesses just to invest in physical locations purely for the SEO benefit at that point. All right, but here's something critical to understand about rankings, and that's that nothing is guaranteed. Listen, Google doesn't benefit when you get free organic traffic. They don't prioritize making it easy for you to rank organically because they want you to buy ads. That's how their platform, their business makes money. The Google Ads network generates revenue. Organic map pack listings do not. And I'm not saying you can't rank organically. You absolutely can, but you need to understand that Google's business model is built around paid advertising, so they're not going to make organic visibility so easy that businesses stop buying ads. That's the nature of SEO. All right, so if you're struggling with anything on your marketing, go to mammothforplumbers.com and my team would be happy to give you an hour for a free consult. We do it for just about any plumber. If you're not a plumber, sorry, you're gonna have to go somewhere else. All right, before you go, here's the final thing that you need to understand about getting found on Google Maps, and this is pretty critical. You might need to invest in getting actual shop locations with real life addresses if you're serious about dominating your local market and showing up consistently inside those map pack results. And having a pinned physical location just gives you that massive advantage over the service area businesses. So it immediately pops you up farther than others. And it doesn't have to be your main shop. Like it could be a small satellite office. It could be sometimes a shared office space, but Google is gonna have to go in and verify it. So make sure or be careful about signing a long-term lease. But having that address on the map fundamentally changes how Google evaluates your proximity to searchers. And second, don't forget about your reviews. They're paramount to your traction. You could have the best location, but the worst reviews, and you'd still be out of luck, right? So set up systems to consistently ask satisfied customers for reviews, and don't just ask once in a while. Make it part of the process after every job and put in a follow-up process with at least 5 more touch points asking for those so you're farming your market for them. It's important. It's how businesses succeed now. And so I hope this clears up any muddy waters around how you rank on the map pack. Yes, there's a little bit more nuance into the details, but this at least will help you understand how the system works. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my knowledge. And we'll see you on the next one.
This is the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man. OMG, this is going to be great. La 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 la
This is a Mammoth Plumbing Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man.
OMG, this is going to be great. This is the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man. OMG, this is going to be great. La 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 la. OMG, this is going to